Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once again to the In One Ear Out podcast. My name is John. It is April 22nd, Wednesday, 2020. What do we got for everybody today? How we doing? We got Zach and we got Emil today. Say hi,
What's up,
guys.
everybody?
We're doing pretty good. Got
Excellent,
about the
excellent.
same as yesterday.
Yeah, just about the same as yesterday. I don't think today we
Yeah.
have Jordan joining us, but that'll be okay. Just us three. So, I wanted to start off. Yesterday we talked about things. I feel like the tone was just a little bit sad by the end of the day. We had talked about some things that weren't the most uplifting stories, but that is kind of the tune that everybody's playing to nowadays. But let's try to spice it up with a little bit of something. Zach,
I for one am all for that, John.
oh yes,
For the
I
spice. I made last night after the podcast.
oh yeah.
After I got done playing Counter Strike, I went right to the kitchen. You know what I did?
What you put together, boy?
I made some chicken.
Some chicken.
And
Oh,
you know what I did? I spiced it up real nice.
really? Walk me through it
Yeah.
because I actually made something yesterday that I want to share. That's how
So-
good I felt.
Recently, we purchased these. They're like kind of frozen. They're like grilled frozen chicken patties.
I got
Right.
you. Yeah.
And you're like, you see frozen chicken in a bag that goes in your freezer, and you're like, oh, it's frozen chicken in a bag.
To the general populace
You
of
know
America,
what? I
perhaps not.
doctored these up pretty sweet, dude.
Oh, all right.
Pretty sweet. Throw some oil and some butter in a pan.
Oh, you
Throw
didn't.
the chicken.
No way.
Just throw it right in there, flat down. Throw some salt
Boom.
and pepper and oregano.
Pump it up
Bam,
another notch.
done.
The spice weasel.
Bam.
Bam.
Spice weasel.
How?
Yeah.
The real question: how did it
Yeah.
taste? How was the taste?
You know what? I was so astonished
Was it salty,
mo-
savory,
at
sweet?
how
bitter,
savory
buttery?
it was. It was savory. It was moist. It was good chicken.
It was
I
good chicken.
even whipped out some corn tortillas, threw them
Oh,
up in the pan.
now we're talking.
Had some chicken tacos, my guy. Had some chicken
That sounds
tacos.
great. Now,
That sounds pretty awesome.
I have to agree with Emil. That sounds pretty awesome. I'd like to share what I made the other day. All right. We had ham steaks the night before, so I got some ham steak. I diced it all. I didn't dice. I just chopped it up, threw it in a pan, a little bit of butter. I got some in a separate pan. Green beans and baby carrots, a little bit of minced onion, a little bit of minced garlic, a little bit of butter. Had that all nice. Mixed it all in with the ham and all that. Ooh, it's turning out good. Then I made this glaze with a little bit of maple syrup, butter, chili pepper, ginger, balsamic vinegar, and now that was some heat right there. I'll tell you what, that was busting, busting out there. Absolutely delicious.
Damn, man.
Now I'm hungry. Wow. Well,
Thanks,
anyway,
Dylan.
yeah. I hope everybody listening today is just as hungry. Please just wait until the podcast is over to get some food. Thanks very much.
Or you could just blaze it.
Yes, or as Emil has suggested, just blaze it. Emil 2020 for president. All right.
Just
Zach, if you would like to go first with if you'd like to go first with yours because mine's a little bit depressing.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. All
So,
right.
as there's been talk that we talked about a little bit before on previous podcasts, we talked about Elon Musk's desire to bring in
Mhm.
uh
What universal internet?
universal global wide internet
Right.
coverage. Recently, like already, he has already started to launch satellites for it. I've actually even seen it outside.
Really?
I didn't realize that's what it was. I was was chilling outside my house with Jordan one night, and we were looking up at, and we looked up at the sky, and we saw three lights
Hmm.
going in a row, straight
Aliens.
as can be, and we were like, aliens, bro.
It's
American
time.
government, it's
time.
coming. This is happening. Nope. Turns out it is Elon Musk's Starlink satellite network.
Well,
They've already launched hundreds of satellites.
I
And
would.
people are outraged
Yes, you're right. You're right. And why is that? Why is that?
because they feel their rights to the sky, man, People have a right to the sky, man.
If I can't see
Stars.
the distant stars that don't
If
exist
I can't
anymore,
see you know what? Homeless people see stars too. Everybody sees stars, man.
well, look it.
And
Here's what I feel it comes down to is that people don't like having things that even if they don't care about them taken away from them. All right. You're in middle school and that one kid you don't like's like, "Hey, can I borrow a pencil?" And you're like, "I just got a fresh pack of 2 Ticonderoga pencils." Are you going to give him one of those? Hell no. Hell no. Even if it doesn't bother you to lose one of those pencils, you're not giving him one, you know.
yeah.
But what does this now mean for companies as well as the consumers of using this global wide internet?
It's like a breaking of grounds. It's like a breaking of grounds into the space part of casting of like
It's
like
utilizing
Amazon.
something you think that
Other companies now have the option because someone else is doing it. Have the option or will have the option to do something like this with their just depends on fundage. Just depends.
Oh yeah,
But
everything comes down to the money.
Are there any rights in place
Right.
for
Like
for that issue?
what's stopping other companies from polluting our skies with things that are not for the general public to
Exactly.
yeah. Well,
Who's gonna stand up for that? Who fights for that?
well,
You know?
that's a great question because I don't believe anybody has yet. We all
Yeah,
thought. Do you
exactly.
guys remember? I forget when, but when Donald Trump announced the Sixth Army or branch of our military, Space Force, we're like, what? What do we need a Space Force for? Well, that was a
We're not even gonna get that far.
let's operate under some nihilist optimism, which are complete opposites of each other. But somebody had that on the presidential agenda and he approved it, and there was a reason for that. The reason being, maybe we don't know yet. Whatever the government knows that we don't, there's got to be some plan for them. So trust me.
Honestly, if we were gonna try to fight aliens in space and like whatever aliens were to come and find us, they're already way more powerful than us, and we're not gonna stand a goddamn chance.
No, that's absolutely true. That's 100% right. I'm more saying other countries on this planet that are maybe fighting for resources on the moon. Because who claims the moon? Nobody. And there has already been an agreement between countries to say that is no man's land, that no celestial body in space can be owned by a sole country or person. Because it's
just the moon.
But do you think that'll be that way forever?
No.
No.
Not in the slightest.
I think that was a good start to kind of fend off anybody
Yeah.
from doing anything.
It might be a little while, but
Right. A little while to us is what? A few years?
50
Things move
years.
fast. Oh, no.
Honestly, I think we're gonna start colonizing the moon soon. Why the hell not?
We're going to be colonizing Mars in the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And, oh man, this is great that we're on the topic of this now. Scientists think that Europa's ice shell is 10 to 15 miles thick. All right. And they think that it's floating on about 40 to 100 miles of ocean. When it comes to deciding, or determining rather, if life exists outside of our Earth and planet, liquid water is the #1 proponent of sustainable life. There's, planet existing in the Goldilocks zone, which is far enough away for liquid water to exist. But for Europa's sake, it's not. And even on Mars, we had found liquid water. But to me, it's just very interesting. And I think we said this last time as well. We were wondering if there's any missions going to Europa. And I found there is 2. There's a satellite set to orbit the moon and launching in 2024. And the Europa lander, hoping to reach the surface, that's launching in 2025. Or sooner. We'll see.
God damn, I'm gonna be like 26 years old by then.
You'll be 25. Just
Well,
well, halfway through the year.
Half, halfway through 25,
Either way.
going on 26.
I wanted to play devil's advocate for this, and I wanted you guys to try to maybe convince me. I'm already convinced, but I'd like the discussion. Do you think life exists outside of our solar system, planet, galaxy, etc.? And if so, should we stop humans from imposing onto that life? Is it our right to interact with things that are not of this planet, but that exist and live? I'll say no for the fact of saying no. What do you guys think?
Whoa. I feel like there has to be another. I feel like there is another source of life out there. Like, I just don't think that we're that much of an anomaly in that vast of a space that just.
I agree with that.
I just don't think that that's.
But for the sake of,
Uh-huh.
is it our right, or some people say manifest destiny of the cosmos? Yes, but also no. Is it our right as humans, as our life, to impose onto life that has not even originated from this planet? It has nothing to do with us. There's already life on this planet that has nothing to do with us that we impose our humanities onto. Would we then impose our humanities onto life that is not from this planet? And would it be, I don't know, detrimental to that life? For this sake, I'll say yes.
Yeah. I think it would change everything forever. Absolutely. Like, it'd be a shift for the world.
Right, but what would be the repercussions of that? And should, because interacting with life on other planets, that can be as far as collecting samples to study, removing that life form from its environment, or it could just be walking on a planet and killing something, stepping on it by accident, Oops, we accidentally crushed this microorganism we had no idea about. Do we say, oh well? Or are we like, hey, let's never do this again? We're not sure of the ramifications of imposing our humanities onto other life. What could we explore with that?
I never thought about it like that. And I don't think most people do put the other life first.
Right,
You know, to think
why
like
would
that,
you?
but-
Why would you? And how do you justify that? Do you say, it's not from Earth? Okay, right. But the same argument you can make for why you should interact with life is the same argument you can make against it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a question we can only answer by running that trial and finding life on a new planet or another moon or whatever it be, celestial
Why
body.
is this?
But if it's
What?
out there, the question is, should we seek it? Is that something that we desire as a species, or is that something
I
that
do
we
believe
desire in a different way or in a more
it is the human
malicious
condition
and
to be
conquering way?
curious, and it is the human condition to ask questions. When you ask questions,
Why
yes.
Yeah, but when does it break from curiosity to controlling?
That's a fine line.
This kind of reminds me of the movie
Yeah.
Avatar.
Avatar? Yeah.
Yeah, where they go to that Pandora planet and they're trying to get like this mineral.
Right.
Oh, that movie's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
where they're trying to,
Mhm.
and they have these avatar bodies where they like neuralink into the bodies of the natives that live on that planet.
Right, and why were humans on that planet to begin with?
They were there to get this stuff called, I think it was I think they called it unobtainium.
It was a rare
unobtainium.
resource that was abundant on that planet, and they would
Yep.
sacrifice the existence of that planet's life for the purpose of extraction of that ore.
Like, I think that movie would like show that how humans would be if they found like an element like that on another planet. We wouldn't care. We just want that element.
What's that, Moon? You want capitalism? I didn't hear any. I didn't hear any no's.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
I
much.
understand.
Like,
There has to be a way that we can impose, because there's no way you can interact with something without imposing something onto it. That's Schrodinger's law. By even existing on the same planet as something else, we interact with it in good and bad ways. How do we make sure that whatever we do, whatever life that we seek out, is not ruined and not, just not ruined by
Destroyed
our,
by us?
yeah.
We don't seek it out. Is that?
Well, then how do we
That's a
do it?
pretty. That's a pretty obvious answer. We don't
Right, if
seek
you're
it
looking
out.
for the cut and dry, look, if you don't want to have
But
footprints on the moon, you don't go to the moon.
if you want the answer that allows us to be curious, then that will still allow us to explore further life. You just have to take in that chance is still a thing. It could happen.
Right. I'm looking for the answer that we will most likely run into. Okay, if you really want to make money off of a giant meteorite that's traveling wherever and we can somehow get miners onto it, sure, why not? There's no life on there? Why not? It might inflate our market with gold and iron and whatever we find there,
Yeah.
but there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing's home, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now you can take into account, say, again, Europa. We go there, we drill into that ice, and we find that there's abundant life in their ocean.
What
Just
if it
by
was like that one video we watched where like that whole entire like ecosystem of like intelligent life was trapped under the ice? What if Europe was just like that?
it could be, and by just the nature of digging in and trying to observe and find this life, we could ruin an ecosystem.
Yeah, we could ruin their ecosystem.
We could tip the balance of such a delicate preservation of these species that we've never seen.
And then what would we
That's
even
a
do?
scary
from that?
thought.
We would be aliens. That's what we would be.
Yep, we would be aliens.
Oh,
to them.
wait, we found life. Oh, never mind, we destroyed it.
So then, on the other hand, how would you expect aliens to treat our planet if they found it? If they were to study us, observe
drain
us,
us. Drain us of resources.
Honestly, they'd probably do the same thing that we would try doing to another planet. They're gonna be like, "Ooh, this planet has something we want. We're just gonna take it."
that's true. But I'm not sure if that's a universal idea between,
Or if we could try to communicate with the aliens, we could try setting up a trade system. Who knows how
that's
that
true.
might work?
That's true. I'm more thinking on the lines of just uh, the morality of this other species and how morals really do dictate every action that we carry out. And if we're going to preserve our morals and try to be sound and caring and compassionate beings, then that has to be across the board. You can't say, yes, I'm going to be a good person today. I'm going to help a lady across the street. But then tomorrow I'm going to go out of my way to curb stomp 10 puppies to death. Are you a good person for what you did yesterday? No, you did a good thing yesterday, and your person can still be bad. So that's where morals become a gray area, especially when dealing with universal constants such as life as aliens. Interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
I don't know. I truly do not know, but I do like taking the bad side sometimes.
Anyway, do you think we're actually gonna find a planet like this in our lifetimes? Any of ours? Or
Yeah, I truly do. I wanted to add
I was just gonna say like a solid maybe.
a solid maybe.
Like a solid maybe.
That doesn't really answer the question, but
I know it
I
really doesn't
appreciate
answer the
genuinity.
question, but
no, that's I don't know. It truly
the
is.
only reason I say maybe is because like the universe is so big. Like who knows when
Absolutely.
we're gonna find? Who knows when we're gonna find life? It could be in our lifetime. It could not be in our lifetime. That's all I'm
Right,
really
and there's
saying.
no way
Like,
to say, but
nothing
there's just
like to really support that right now. But
no, that's absolutely true. And there's no way to say, so the only thing we can do is try to lay out what we should do, how we should handle it before we do get to that point. Because there is no over prepare, especially
I
when
think
dealing with something so monumental as first contact.
So we should just continuously strive and keep moving forward.
Right, into the direction of, okay, so I think we saw that video with the Great Barrier, where life, it seems to be that there's great barriers in place. Even on Earth, there's been multiple mass extinction events. As a matter of fact, we're in the middle of one, which is human-created extinction event. So what's happened at one point, I forget exactly which, I couldn't quote. There was over 90% of life on Earth went extinct. 90%. And we're still here. So could that have been the Great Barrier for other species to not overcome? Some mass extinction event. Would you think so? Because there's that, it's either...
Absolutely. 90%. I just feel like 90% is so much to where survival, the time to survival, the time to regroup, that amount of loss is...
No, there is none. There's no way to. That's why so many have gone extinct.
Yeah.
So, either humans today...
So is it a matter of time before we go extinct?
Well, that's the thing. Either we have passed that Great Barrier to where the hardest thing for most life to encounter that usually stops life from getting past it, either it's behind us or it's in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever stops us from becoming the Type 1 or the Type 0 civilization to the Type 1. For me, I believe it's still ahead of us, and I could maybe even point it out, but I'd like to hear what you guys think. What would you say?
I think it's still ahead of us. I think it's gonna take a while before we have to make a decision like that.
What would you say the Great Barrier is for the future of humans?
Oh.
You too, Emil.
I'm gonna leave the chat and rejoin. I'm like lagging like crazy.
Just do what
I'll
you
be
gotta
right
do.
back.
I could say greed. I could say...
Well, those are defining factors of what...
I could say certain ideologies created by man that drive people...
Look, you could be specific.
Well,
You
like,
can say, I think
yeah.
it's that the world's going to run out of hot dogs, and we're going to have a hot dog shortage that's going to destroy the planet.
I'm
Be specific.
genuinely
What do you think?
believe it's the way people think that will destroy the world.
Well,
It's
that's
just that.
that's still pretty general. What
What
I
are
would...
people acting on it? Like, oh, you mean like what would...
Yes,
Don't
like
give
I
a
said, if I could give an example about the hot dogs, but
Yeah.
what I believe is that the ideology of man, yes. Too many people right now live in impoverished situations because other people on this planet have more money than they even know what to do with. It becomes a wealth inequality which just grows by the minute.
Yeah.
Now, to collectively survive as a species, we're doing really bad. That is not how it should be. What should happen is everybody should be along the same lines. I know it sounds like globalist communism, but it's not really. We would just have to find a way to make everybody's standard of living higher. And that would be at the cost of making the few people lower. Exactly. There's a million ways to go about that. But until we overcome that crucial step of understanding that we're all the same species and that's how we will all succeed is together. Without that, we're not going to make it that far. And that is what I believe
Not
to
as
be the
far
next
as
great
we
fight.
could.
Not as far as we could, exactly.
Nowhere near as far as we could.
As far as life is concerned, just existing should be far enough. Our potential is completely different. You know.
That's all based on us.
Oh, of course. You know. But so far, we're the smartest things we know of. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Very interested in that. What did I want to bring up? Oh yeah, about the contamination of alien bacteria. There was let's see. It was a treaty. It was signed in 1967 by the U.S., USSR, and UK, and it ratified the United Nations Outer Space Treaty.
Okay.
That it laid the plans for proper handling of interplanetary crafts, and if you remember a few years ago when Elon Musk launched his Tesla Roadster into space, scientists were concerned because that bacteria that could be on that car, if it were to crash into a planet or a moon or something that we had not explored enough and contaminated with our bacteria, it could have killed the life on there, and we would have no way to know about it. And so he got a little bit of backlash. It did not violate
I
the
remember hearing about
Planetary Protection Treaty,
that. Yeah.
but it's definitely something to keep in mind. Even without the abundance of life in our solar system, galaxy, universe. Yeah, that's something
Think about like
a lot of people
natural. I feel like natural resources
Okay.
hold some pretty big weight in how our future can be proceeded. Like
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
where these resources are used, how well they're stretched out, how well you do at being consistent and not in a time frame of, until they're used. Like I just think
I get you.
people are just going to use what they want more than what they need, and that's going to destroy
Right.
a lot of
It it
time
it takes someone.
time that we could have,
Right.
you know.
So say we have 100 years, and we have 100 years worth of materials. Well, all of a sudden, we're using 50 years of materials in 1 year.
Think about it like
So how are we going to make that next 50 years of material last the last 99 years? And that's kind of what it's coming down to. It'll definitely be a war for resources, more than it already has been. Oh, goodness. Well, Discord somehow just had connection problems. But I'll bring up the next topic. I hate to talk about the coronavirus more than we even have to. Usually it's just a beginning of the week thing. But this is tied into something a little bit more significant, you could say, just on a different basis. Um, Mail-in voting and how it affects this country. The more people that end up voting, the more it seems that liberal candidates succeed. Now, I believe I couldn't tell exactly what day it was, but President Trump said in a press conference that if there was mail-in voting, there would never be a Republican president again. And that goes to illustrate once again that the majority of the people maybe in this country are not Republican or would not vote for a Republican. It does not mean that they are Democrats specifically. That goes further to illustrate what the problem is in our government. If they don't want more people voting, which is supposed to be a good thing, it's a better representation of what the country wants. If our government does not want more people to vote, what does that say? It says one thing, that the government is very greedy. I think my internet's gone down. Whoa. Oh man, this was a great time for this. Well, work for me.
Everything all right?
Everything all right, John?
Oh, excellent. We are back. My internet had problems. I'm not sure how much everybody heard of me, what I was bringing up, but I had said something about the mail-in voting system and how Donald Trump, our president, hates it. He had
I did
stated
not
in
hear
a
that.
press conference that if there was mail-in voting, there would never be another Republican president. What does that say?
Wait, if there was what?
If there was mail-in voting, if you
What
did
is?
not have, sure, right, Mike, man.
What do you mean? Oh, like straight up. Okay, mail-in voting. Okay, I understand.
Right. So, if there was mail-in voting, Donald Trump said there would never be another Republican president. What does that mean? That means more than
He's generalizing people as rural people who don't have access or don't have, like he's you can see like what he means by there's, you know,
what
I get
he's
it, I get
what he's going to say
it.
is that more people would not vote for Republican. It does not mean that the majority of the people in this country are Republican or Democrat. It just means the majority of this people in this country would not vote for Republicans. Quite honestly, most people believe now that the GOP is corrupt. What a surprise! The majority of our government is corrupt. So,
Oof, yeah.
this was a big issue recently with the Wisconsin primary. This was on April 7th. Now, the problem being that 19 people today, at least, this is from a report from CNN, as well as ABC, had both said that health officials in Wisconsin on Tuesday said 19 people who have either voted in person or worked at the polling site have been tested positive for the COVID-19 virus.
Damn.
So, when you're going out of your house, gathering in large groups, like you shouldn't be, and when it has to be something important like voting, when there's no option besides physically showing up to do that, obviously people are going to spread the virus. There's going to be another outbreak. And so absentee voting is really important for a lot of people. Even
Yeah.
people that don't live in the country, that are still United States citizens, have to mail their ballot. And then it's counted for their state.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. This is not a revolutionary idea, but not all states have this. So if it was across the board, every state, that would mean more people are voting. And when more people vote, there's a higher voter turnout. Republican candidates don't win as often.
Do we not want more people voting? I'm all for everyone voting.
That's the point. That should be a good
Are
thing.
you saying he doesn't want
No.
mail-in voting?
No, he doesn't. The higher voter turnout, the less Republican candidates win. That's just
Yeah, but shouldn't every American have the right to vote?
exactly. So what does that tell you? It's
strip
not
down this
about
argument.
representing our democracy, our republic. It's about holding on to power. And that's pretty much,
Yeah.
that's not a surprise to anybody, not at all.
No. Wow.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter to me because I'm an independent and my vote in New York doesn't matter because Joe Biden will get the state come November because downstate. Yep, Schmo Biden.
Schmo.
Yep.
Schmo Biden.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell you guys, I saw a bumper sticker today on my way to the doctor's. It said Joe Biden has syphilis.
I saw that. On your,
I want to get a bumper sticker that just says
story.
obscene things like that. That people obviously can know are like, yeah, that's not true, but
Yeah. That's pretty
what?
Joe Biden.
He's gonna come to New York and forget that he's in New York.
It's gonna be like, thank you, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Right?
Jordan sent me a video. Somebody took some quotes, or he was talking, and he was saying some stuff, and somebody put the Bolivian music behind it.
Why?
It was a real because see what he was saying made no sense.
Oh, okay.
He was talking so weird, and it went along with the
Oh, just
Oblivion
like
NPC music,
gibberish.
the dialogue. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was funny. But
Very interesting. Well, what do you guys have to say about mail-in voting?
it should be a thing. There's a lot of Americans who don't have access to, you know, to the internet as much, and I just think that the higher voter turnout, the better. Like that's really the
Right.
bottom line.
Isn't
The
that the
higher voter
point?
turnout, the better.
If every single American,
Incentivize voting for Americans so he could win. That's why would he's not representing the American people at that point. He's representing
himself,
the portion of Americans
that
that
support him.
vote for him.
Right. And those are the ones that are turning out to vote. So the people are go vote, go vote.
Mhm.
But then the grand scheme of things, if your state is going to vote different regardless because of the electoral college, you could vote Republican in New York, and it doesn't matter because downstate will always have the state vote Democrat. And so if you live in Kentucky and you want to vote Democrat, the entire state is just going to go Republican, meaning your vote is effectively useless. For me, it's 100% useless because I'm going to vote for somebody that has no chance in winning. But mind you, I'll never tell my grandchildren that I had to vote for either Joe Spoden or Trump.
Yeah.
It's coming down to two evils.
Yeah. And just like last time, is this a surprise to anybody?
No.
Not at all.
Why did I think this election would be any different from the last one?
What can we really expect from people?
Who do you think's gonna win?
Who do I think's gonna win?
I honestly have no idea.
Biden. I believe Biden's going to win. I don't know who I'd prefer. I don't know if I'd prefer Biden. I really
would
don't
not.
think either option is going to be better. I think the policies they're going to push regardless are going to be shitty in their own unique ways. Congratulations, America. You played yourself.
Thank you.
He's gonna get on that. He's gonna get on that stage. Thank you for coming, China. You're
Where am
not
I?
in-
This is
Where am
Louisiana.
I?
This is Washington.
Oh, okay. He's gonna start talking about like watermelon or some shit.
I don't know what his problem is, man.
Alzheimer's, man, it fucks you up.
Yeah. The sad thing, honestly.
Yeah.
He's gonna forget that he's president.
That's,
Could you imagine?
He's gonna wake up one morning. He's like, he's not gonna know where the fuck he is.
Well,
I'm being a terrible person right now.
I mean, you're just sharing your opinion.
Yeah.
But,
If it's how you feel, it's how you feel.
well,
I just don't think he's fit if he doesn't even know where he is.
my issue is that I believe if he's president, he'll get removed via the 25th Amendment. He'll be an unfit president, and they'll have to remove him from office. Meaning, his vice president would take over, and that's the big thing. He has not named his running mate yet.
What?
They usually don't until it gets closer because they use that for political ads, and it's like, oh, I don't think there's ever been a time, but I don't believe he could pick Obama to be vice president. I'd ask
don't
my
think-
father about this, and I'm not sure. It's never happened before.
Yeah.
There's never been a president that picked a president as their
Previous
as their vice president. And then something happens to the standing president, and then the vice president, who has already been president for 2 terms, 8 years. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would just skip him in succession, or the chain of command, more or less.
How do you feel about Obama?
Obama was honestly, comparatively, or just like himself, because no president that has ever existed
I'll-
was peachy perfect.
I'll hear like as his presidency first, like what you thought of him as a president was.
While I was young, he was elected when I was 8 years old, and he ran until 2016. For my sake, I never really heard that many things that I was upset about. And yes, I was young and I didn't have a good grasp of the world yet to be upset on certain topics. But the general understanding of how he operated as president was a good thing. Most of his policies and most of the things he worked for were for the public, for the people. It was not to include tax breaks for his billionaire friends. It was not to power grab. It was not to stack the federal courts with people that he agreed with. It was not for corruption's sake. I believe America will look back as Obama being the last genuine president for the United States people. This point on, Trump, Biden, whoever it
And you
be.
know how many people shot him down and told him he wasn't that?
Oh, right.
I guess you'll have that with every
The
president.
hypocrisy on both sides, but when
But he really wasn't.
when Bill Clinton was getting impeached, the reason he was impeached because he lied, not because of what he did, but because he lied about it. Now, they were quick to go to the impeachment. Now, Trump. Has Trump ever lied? Yes.
During his presidency?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Under oath and everything, yeah.
Yes. So when his impeachment came around, it was thrown around left, right, center. It's a hoax. It's not real. This is the Democrat trying to remove President Trump. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. It was. Were the grounds sound? He had 2 articles of impeachment against him: obstruction of Congress and abuse of power.
Dude, he goes off like a 5-year-old kid on Twitter.
And he got them for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah. Nobody
What?
made it up.
What be that reason?
He didn't get impeached.
He did get
Someone else,
impeached.
you know. What? Yeah, no, I'm trying to say he didn't for no reason. He did get impeached, and he did not for no reason.
I suppose so. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Well, there's nothing else
Okay.
left on our board for today. I wanted to talk more about Wisconsin and all of their situation going down.
Okay.
But that's just to belabor. Yep. Governor Evers of Wisconsin. I watched 2 of the media briefings concerning the coronavirus. One of them, he talked of what he tried to do to include an absentee ballot for the primary on April 7th. This was on April 6th that he made this media briefing. And he said, quoted, "I've tried for weeks to meet Republicans in the middle to find common ground and figure out the Wisconsin solution. But at every turn, they, GOP, fought all the way to the United States Supreme Court. Everything he had tried to do to include absentee ballot into the democratic process, they had brought all the way up through the courts to the Supreme Court to denounce it and to effectively render it useless. For some reason, whatever it be, Republicans really don't want mail-in voting. They don't want more people taking place in their own democracy. Now, why is that? More so than we already said.
I don't know.
Yeah. Things are not what they should be.
Just, yeah.
That's an understatement. But I think that's going to wrap up everything for today. We didn't go for the full hour. I believe it's only 40 minutes. But I think this is going to conclude everything for our podcast tonight. If you'd like to tune in again tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we'll be here once again, the In1Ear Out podcast, with a whole slew, maybe the whole crew. But
Yep. Hopefully, yeah.
hopefully, as far as everything goes for tonight, thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody has a great day, and we hope to see you soon.
Yep. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.